Hi, my loves. How are we doing? All right. I'm just taking a break for today for tarot readings, but there is something else I want to talk about today. I've just been doing readings all day, my private ones, and plus I have to work at my other job tonight. But there is something I want to talk about, which is the goddess Hecate. If you've been watching my videos and following me for a while, I always bring up Lilith. Lilith has been my main Patreon. She's been somebody I've been working with for a little over 2 years now. Hecate, I just started working with like 7-8 months ago. So her and I are still going through the motions on certain things, but there is something I really want to talk more about her, and I kind of want to do my best to talk about the real and raw parts of working with goddess Hecate. I think the reason I want to bring this up is because I feel like, especially on this app, now I'm a person of get your coin, make your money, do what you got to do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I've noticed on this app, Hecate specifically, her name gets overused so much. Her name gets used in order to make money off of her, to make money off of her name. And I've noticed so many people are like, Hecate's calling for me. I wonder if I should work with Hecate and all this sort of stuff. When I would... There's been a handful of creators that have done an amazing job discussing about who Hecate is, and I just want to bring it to light as far as my personal experiences with her, as far as she's not the one to toy with. I've noticed a lot of people are so quick to say, oh, Hecate again is reaching out to me, she's this, but the joke, actually I was warned years ago, before I answered Hecate's call, that she will ruin your life. The same thing with Lilith. By the end of the day, these are dark goddesses. They're not the ones to mess with. And what I mean by ruin your life, again, they will strip everything that you thought, that you've been accustomed to, that you thought was normal, that you thought was good for you, and these women will come into your life and say, we're starting from scratch all over again. And it's painful, it's gut-wrenching, and I have to say, Hecate... the only goddesses I work with is, let me make it clear, is Hecate and Lilith, okay? I will say Hecate has been that woman that has given me some of the harshest reality checks in the past 7 to 8 months alone. Not saying Lilith has it in her own right, but I feel like for me, in my personal journey with these two, and again, everybody's journey with working with these women is going to be completely different. Again, these are my experiences. When I first started working with Lilith, I felt like Lilith worked on me. Okay, as far as my internal stuff, my traumas, things from the past that literally are dead and gone and I can't control. Lilith has worked on, now, again, I'm not saying Lilith hasn't backhanded me, given me some reality checks. Hecate helped me with more external forces, okay? And it wasn't pretty, at least for me. Now I look back 6, 7, 8 months ago, looking back, ahead of time, I go, oh, I see why she took those things away from me. I see why certain people left my life. So to kind of start back, it was Lilith who introduced me to Hecate. And I will be completely honest, guys, and I've noticed so many people were like, Hecate this, she's calling to me, she's doing this, I was mortified. I will be completely honest. I was terrified to work with Hecate. And at the time, I didn't know why, because I respected her. It was an honor to know that, like, Hecate was trying to get my attention, but at the time, I didn't know why she wanted to work with me, and it truly scared me. And this will be a different story for a different day, but when I answered Lilith's call, is completely different. I felt extremely comfortable with Lilith, which there's things added up over the years where I've kind of realized Lilith has always been with me my whole life, but that's a different story for a different day, where Hecate was a little bit of a different story I was going towards. Lilith introduced me to Hecate, and at first I was like, yay, but no, I'm terrified. I'm not ready for this. And I'll get to why I know why back then I was terrified to work with her. When I tell you Hecate is not majority of dark goddesses are not going to be subtle. She was the one that was not taking no for an answer. I tried to be like, I'm not ready. She was not letting me go. I'm not joking, you guys. I would get off work in the middle of the night in a dark, deserted parking lot, and I would literally hear keys jingling. I would feel somebody following me. Not to a sense where it was like terrifying, but it was like, I knew it was her. I knew she was on my tail. She's literally going, surprise, shorty, I'm trying to work with you. So finally I answered her call, and it was the best decision I ever made. But literally 48 hours later, 5 people disappeared out of my life. When I tell you that Hecate gave me some of the widest rudest reality checks. She literally said, oh, thank you for answering my call. She's been talking crap behind your back. They've been manipulating you this whole time. They never wanted to see you succeed. For Hecate, she removed people. Now, granted, these people were not like best friends of mine. They weren't like super close, but they were in my life. And they were truly people I never thought would kind of turn on me. And a lot of things came to life. That's probably was the reason I was scared to work with Hecate, because I knew what she was coming in for. And I will be honest, at that time, I was not ready for that reality check. But I have figured out when you answer finally, and again, comment what your experiences was like answering Hecate's call finally. Because I feel like for me, it took me a minute to feel like, okay, girl, I'm willing to work. I want to work with you. Because for me, and when it came to my shadow work, again, Lilith was helping me out a lot. But for me, it got to a point I had no vice to run to anymore. I had none. I don't know how to explain it. But again, I knew that at the time, and I was not ready to hear that reality check. And then again, Hecate was in the back of my, tail going, surprise, shorty, I'm going to help you get rid of all that stuff. Hecate, goddesses, same thing with Lilith, dark goddesses, will strip you from everything you thought was normal, that you thought was good for you, that you thought was your reality. And it's not. And you can only run and run and run so far away from your own lessons before you hit a brick wall. And that is exactly what happened to me. But man, has she changed my life for the better. As of 3 months tomorrow, 3 months tomorrow will be no nicotine for me. I don't carry any liquor in my home. If you do catch me with liquor in my hand, it's like if I'm out on an outing, and even then it's like a beer. If you guys, I briefly brought up, I used to drink really, really bad years ago. It was out of control, I wasn't alcoholic. I was like a weird functioning one. I've always been, I will admit, a codependent person, not just with people, with things too. And I have been, unfortunately, a back and forth cigarette smoker since I was on and off since I was 21. Well, I gave up, cigarettes like 2 to 3 years ago, but then I would switch right over to a vape. And I officially let that go. And it was Hecate that said, if you officially want to break these chains of codependencies, because keep in mind, I said for me, Hecate got rid of external things for me. She said that little box got to go. You cannot officially, and she made a point to me, she told me you cannot go through life saying, I'm no longer a codependent person, but yet you can't live a second without that stupid box in your hand. And she made a point, and she was the reason I officially could say I'm no longer a codependent person. I will admit, and that's something her and I are still working on. Do I still get triggered? Yes. Do I still have my moments where I need that vice back? Yes. But is it out of my life? Yes. Thanks to her. I like to think of Hecate as like she recycles things out of your life. Like she will get rid of the yucky stuff and replace it in with the good stuff. And I will tell you what, if you choose to answer her call, I will keep, and this is where the real rawness of this video I've been talking about. Yeah, she may ruin your life. She may take some people out of your life. She may take certain things away from you. She may take that job away from you. I will admit that. Trust it. Trust it. Because like I said, I have noticed, and I've even talked to other Hecate devotees, when you finally answer her call, there comes a point you have nowhere to run. And that's exactly where I was in my life. You were at a crossroads. She is the guardian of the crossroads. I wanted to move forward, but I knew I wanted to take some things behind me. So it's best for me if I just stared at a brick wall. And that's when she came into my life and said, baby, you got to let those things go. All of it, including my vape. But we have a long way to go. Like I said, I am not a perfect devotee. I never will be. I just started working with her, like I said, 7 to 8 months ago. I have no intentions of leaving her. And I will admit, actually, because that's a different story for another day, I briefly let Hecate go because she gave me those reality checks. I'm like, I don't want to do it, but I came right back at 48 hours. It was a whole ordeal. But I'll tell you what, that is the best decision you'll ever make. Your mental health. I feel like working with Hecate, specifically, the biggest flex I will say that I have working with her is my mental health is a lot better. And she's teaching me more about witchcraft. And I have gained more knowledge in the past 7 to 8 months I never thought I'd have. But I hope this video helped as far as talking about Hecate. I would love to know your experiences with her. But until then, my babies, I hope you have a blessed one, and I will see you later. Bye, my babies.